Naomi.
I'm Hannah.
And we are the Walker sisters. We are really excited about today's vlog. Today we actually had an opportunity to go out and have lunch with an old friend of ours, someone that we've known for many, many years.
We are sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings and we're having a cordial conversation with, like Naomi said, someone that we had a relationship with in the past. We're talking 8, 9 years ago. Like,
yeah,
I don't think
years ago.
we haven't had communication with him in what, 5 years?
Yeah.
6 years. So anyway, we're just having a cordial conversation where it's starting out and we are talking about some old videos and some old things we used to do because, back in that time we wanted to be YouTube stars and do funny stuff, awkward stuff, and it was good. Then
some things came out, his life has changed quite a bit. He had a dream to become a very important part of the church, and a lot of you guys know already that our church background is a little bit of a roller coaster. But in this particular scenario, this old friend of ours is now an important piece of the church that he's in. And at one point or another, it came back to the homosexual lifestyle and what that looks like and how he feels about
lifestyle. And this word, it kind of bothers me. I understand the concept behind it, and I am guilty of using this word. I've done it in the past, but when we were talking to him, I realized that using the word lifestyle is kind of taking away from who we are.
Yeah.
It's almost like we are trying to draw the line again between what is normal and what is not normal.
Or what's okay and what's not okay.
And when we say the word, I am living the lifestyle, it's almost like taking it out again and stating that we are choosing to live separate or different from
the norm.
And don't get me started on norm, but I understand why it is.
Hannah loves the norm.
This is what bothered me, because I realized in stating this and calling it a lifestyle, I am taking away from who I am as a person and who she is and anybody else that is homosexual. And basically, my argument was, it's not a lifestyle. This is who I am. I am living Hannah. She is living Naomi. So don't try to
title it
or justify or is demoralize a good word? Like, don't take away from who I am because you don't understand it. And I'm not saying that he was taking that perspective, but in talking to him, I realized this. When I call it a lifestyle, I'm taking away from who I am. And that's not fair to me. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to you.
Yeah. And I think the big thing that we kind of went around in circles in is a lot of people think it's a choice. So we make a choice. And Hannah and I both made a lot of choices that I'm sure a lot of you guys have had to make as well. And we made choices to do things that we thought would make us straight, do things that we thought would change us, do things that we thought would help us be what everyone wanted us to be. And I even said at one point, there was a point in my life where I would have given anything to live what I was telling people I was living and to feel the way I was telling people I was feeling, when in reality I was feeling something completely different.
And let's be raw about it.
Yeah.
You were trying to be straight.
I was trying.
Telling people and living a straight life.
Yeah.
But behind closed doors,
I was with women. I was sleeping and having a relationship that was just hidden with women. And so I was, he used the word feeling a lot. You're living so that you feel happy. You feel, his phrasing I think was, you want to feel happy so that you're not hurting anymore. And I had to kind of make it real and say, it's not about feeling. I don't feel a certain way. I lived in bondage. I lived in prison. I wanted to be free from that. And at one point, that freedom looks a lot like this. You can be in prison and still be happy. You can be in prison and get a donut and be really happy about that donut.
Right.
Or you can live in prison and know that you're not doing something you shouldn't be doing, so be happy about that. But that doesn't mean that you're not in prison. At the point where we had to come to and accepting who we were no longer living in the prison that we were not ourselves. And we were pretending.
Right. And in that, trying to be who we thought other people thought we should be, trying to be heterosexual, we were not at peace with ourselves.
Right.
Because we knew what was going on inside, but on the outside, we were trying to portray
that it was something completely different. It was something completely different.
Because that's what you saw on the outside.
Right. And we would continue living. I continued. Hannah was very strong, and she really paved the way for me, because ultimately I wasn't strong enough to be honest with who I was for many, many, many years. And I lied to myself, and I lied to my friends, and I lied to my family simply because I wasn't strong enough to do that. Hannah was strong enough even at a young age, and she battled with it still. It didn't mean that, she didn't have her own struggles in that, but she was still strong enough to at least be honest about it. And I was just terrified. I was terrified that I wouldn't be right. I was terrified that I couldn't be a good person. I could not be okay if I lived this way. And that, I think, is where the lifestyle came into play, that mindset of, oh, this is a lifestyle.
Right.
And that started as a lifestyle choice.
Right.
That's what we would hear growing up. Oh, it's just a lifestyle choice.
Right.
Well, it's not a choice, and it's not a lifestyle. It's a part of me. It's a part of you. Mm-hmm. It's a part of you guys as well. We don't live because we're choosing to live this way. A lot of us, if we could make the choice, we would live the way everyone wanted us to. Then we would fit in. Then we would feel normal. Then we would feel like we weren't wrong.
Right.
Or we weren't someone's target. Nobody wants to be made a target. We all want to be accepted, and we want that from the time that we're children.
We wouldn't have to fight for equal rights. We wouldn't have to fight to be recognized as strong, independent, dominant,
honest,
confident, lesbian women. We wouldn't have to do that. But in society, because of where we are today, unfortunately, we have to.
We're forced to, otherwise we don't get a say in our own lives. We uploaded the video where we talked about rights to even have sex with who you want to have sex with. Now, we don't have that problem in America. We're not going to go to jail for 25 years if we get caught in a homosexual act. But there's still a mental battle that we fight every single day. Sure, I don't have to fight to have sex with my partner, but I do have to fight to be able to marry her. I do have to fight to be able to have the same benefits that a straight couple would have. I do have to fight for the ability to serve on certain committees or in certain respects.
Or in the military. That was a fight that we had to have.
There's also the emotional fight that we have to have, where we feel like we have to prove something, or someone's going to target us with hate crimes, with whatever it is, simply because they believe that our lifestyle is not okay. And that's where, when we were sitting with our friend, that's where we really struggled. And I know that Hannah, you had, it goes both ways. Right? Because you had a really crazy realization in talking to this friend.
I did not feel that my pastor handled my situation well. I was isolated quite a bit because once it came out that I had been in a relationship with a girl, I was isolated from the other girls in the youth for fear that I was going to turn them gay, or for fear that I would be a bad example. I mean, I honestly can't speak for what their fears were, but for the longest time, I was very angry and bitter about this, because to me, it's like, how could you do that to me, But then after talking with him today, I realized it's not just about me and him in that situation. There are politics that are in place in regards to the church, and he had to make sure not only was he satisfying me. He had to satisfy his pastor. He had to satisfy the parents of the young girl or the parents of the other girls within the church, and the image that it would portray if he had not taken care of the situation the way that he did.
Yeah, I mean, the way that they wanted him to,
right.
The way that he did.
So it was either isolate Hannah or try to get the rest of the congregation to understand that she is still a part of the youth. She is still God's creation. She is still Hannah.
And a lot of that goes back to, does he lose his job over it? Does he
lose his family?
Does
he
lose his
reputation?
I mean, there's so many aspects that we don't think about going into it. And for those of you who are listening, who are part of a church, who are struggling with this, please know we feel for you in a lot of different ways, because there's so many aspects. But I promise you, a lot of what is happening with the pastoral administration, with the elders, a lot of what they have to do isn't intended directly at you. It's intended to save face because of the politics.
Yeah.
There are so many politics involved with church, religion in general. There's politics wherever you go, but this is one of the toughest ones, because we're talking about people's livelihoods. We're talking about heaven or hell. We're talking about, being saved or not.
In this experience that we had today, it has given me a little bit, it gave me some compassion, and in an area where I probably didn't. I had quite a bit of bitterness, but it just made me realize how difficult of a position that he was in, and that, you know what, I no longer have to hold, I don't need to hold on to that anymore, because honestly it was out of his control.
We wanted to share it because we do think it's an important thing to share, and we didn't have someone sharing these types of things with us when we were struggling. And I know that if I could go back, I would love to have someone saying these things to me. So we hope you guys enjoyed it. We hope that it helped, even if it was just someone. Make sure you share, like, subscribe.
Tell your mother, tell your cousin, tell your brother, tell your
all
uncle,
that
tell
stuff.
your auntie. We love you, fam.
And we'll see you guys soon. We're out.